Almost every time socialism is discussed, some flaw, which in my experience is usually a misconception, will be brought up that some think makes socialism unworkable. I'm here to clear up these misconceptions. Misconception number 1. There is no innovation under socialism. In order to clear up this misconception, we need to explain how many of the innovations we use today came about. Your blank was made by capitalism is a strange phrase that doesn't make much sense in my opinion. First of all, capitalism, socialism, etc. don't make anything. Workers make everything. Isms just determine who gets paid in the end. Under capitalism, the driving factor for investment in the development of a technology is profit. If it's profitable, capitalists will fund it. If it's not profitable, even if it were to save millions of lives, it wouldn't get funded. Under socialism, on the other hand, the driving factors for development of new technologies, techniques, and medicines are human needs and human creativity, rather than profits. Let me ask you this. How many Einsteins has humanity lost in sweatshops, on cotton fields, and due to poverty? Under capitalism, education, a necessary prerequisite to innovation, is locked behind the very, very expensive tuition fees and other expenses of universities. Under socialism, all stages of education are absolutely free. Currently, only 6% of the world's adult population has a college degree, and the majority of them only do because they were financially capable of acquiring one or lived in a country where universities were actually available. This means that up to 94% of human intellectual, scientific, and innovative capacity is being left unharvested by a global capitalist system that only grants higher educational development to an elite few. A relevant saying goes, what if the cure to cancer lies in the mind of someone who can't afford an education? Capitalism actually stifles useful innovation. US pharmaceutical companies, for example, do virtually no research aimed at developing new drugs to cure diseases such as tuberculosis and malaria, which kill tens of millions of low-income people every year in the Third World. They instead fund research on new remedies for acne or toenail fungus, which can be sold to high-income consumers for a large profit. Whatever innovation is done, it's used for profit rather than for human need. If Pfizer's patented drug fluconazole, which cures cryptococcal meningitis, a deadly side effect of AIDS, sells for about $18 a pill, placing it beyond the reach of AIDS sufferers in Africa. A generic version produced in Thailand, however, outside the reach of Pfizer's patent, costs 60 cents a pill. Let's entertain the idea though. If something truly was made by capitalism, then it surely must have been funded by capitalists and been from the private sector, right? Surprisingly, the majority, I dare say even all, of the things we've become so close with, came out of government-funded public sector projects, not to the private sector. Funding came from either the public, from the government, or from the military. To give examples of things that came out of government funding, touchscreens were developed by government enterprises in Britain and by CERN. GPS, and the Soviet equivalent GLONASS, were developed by the militaries of the US and the USSR respectively. Microchips, without which your phone wouldn't work, was also a government project. Image sensors that allow you to take great photos with your phone or DSLR, accelerometers found in your phone and in video game consoles like the Wii, satellites, which are needed for practically everything nowadays, the internet, barcodes, the Doppler radar used for predicting weather, vaccines, including the recent lung cancer vaccine developed by Cuba, green energy sources like wind power. Even all the background work for Google was done through government funding. In fact, the economist Mariana Mazzucato from the University of Sussex states that every major technological change in recent years traces most of its funding back to the state. Even early-stage private sector venture capitalists come in much, much later, after the big breakthroughs have been already made. Adding on to this, a recent article from Scientific American stated that without government support, most basic scientific research will never happen. Already we see it isn't capitalism we can thank for these innovations, it's public funding, the type that is massively bolstered and supported under socialism. Innovation has happened not due to capitalism, but in spite of it. To consider capitalism as the source of humanity's recent great achievements is silly to say the least. Intelligent people, working very hard, with a state behind them that provides them with the funds, equipment, and laboratories they need are what we should thank. Under socialism, massive public projects for this sort of great innovation isn't only possible, it's already happened before. For science, socialism is what will lead to the road ahead. Die internationale, mes